Lance and Larry tracking the pack this week, the Kansas City Chiefs edition. We bring in Larry McCarren, the Packers radio analyst voice. And Larry, going back to watching that Seahawks film, is the defense as scary good as what they look to be with those vanilla schemes so far?
Well, Lance, I got to be honest. Like when I got done watching the Seahawks game live, scary good were not the first two words that came to mind. I thought it was kind of a painful game to watch. However, when I went back and reviewed it, when the big guys were in there, defensively speaking, I thought they did a good job against a pretty good football team. Although they haven't been all that plain vanilla this preseason so far. They run corner blitzes, they've run safety blitzes, they run that inside blitz where they exit. And they also have gone kind of exotic at times with just one guy with his hand down and 10 guys standing up. But that having been said, I think when the guys that are going to decide games during the regular season, when they have been in there, it's been pretty impressive.
What's the Packers' comfort level in Vince Young obviously letting Graham Harrell go?
Well, I think it's improving. I don't think they're totally sold on the concept yet. I think they find it intriguing. But I will say this, Vince Young seems to be making progress in practice. He obviously gets into games, and whether he knows the plays or not, something happens. He brings that element of a running quarterback to the party, and good things have kind of happened for him. But one caveat as far as him being the, quote, backup quarterback to Aaron Rodgers, B.J. Coleman has gotten a ton of reps this week. And unless practice doesn't mean anything, and it usually does mean something, B.J. Coleman's going to get a heck of a lot of playing time against the Chiefs.
How much does DeJuan Harris being out for the year affect the Packers' running game going forward into the regular season?
Well, it certainly affects it, Lance, because he is a good player and he was a productive player last season. However, and this in spite of what Mike McCarthy and others have said, I thought all along, since Eddie Lacy has played in live conditions with live tackling, that he's the best of the bunch as far as running backs go. And he is actually the starter. As long as Eddie Lacy stays healthy, they should be okay. Now, behind him, they've got Starks, they've got Green, possibly Jonathan Franklin. I figure they can cobble together some sort of change of pace, but as long as Eddie Lacy stays healthy, I think they'll be okay, because as I mentioned, I thought he was the best of the bunch anyway. And I should mention, this week, Jonathan Franklin seems to have refound the pep in his step. I think it looks like he realized, I've gone a month and really haven't done anything. And he started to look a little more lively at practice this week. We'll see if that translates into game performance.
Great point there, Larry. A fourth-round pick, obviously stepping his game up as well. All right, how much do you put stock in the fact that Mason Crosby in practice on Tuesday went 14 for 14?
Well, Lance, I've been to a couple World's Fairs and 3 rodeos. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it was incredible. Like the first half were against the wind. The second half were with the wind, but he hit them from 64 and 65 yards. They were his longest. Former Packer kicker Chester Markle would have called that performance incredible. It was something to see. And do I put a lot of stock in it? All I can say is that, hey, in a serious deal with head-to-head competition and a very difficult, I would think, situation as far as alternating kicks, Mason Crosby rose to the occasion. As we have said so many times, Packers don't want a new kicker. They want Mason to kick like he can. On that particular day, he kicked better than he ever has. It was amazing.
Larry McCarren at a World's Fair in a 10-gallon hat. Who would have thought of that? See, you learn something new on this segment every week. All right, who could be the surprising pick to make the 53-man roster, in your opinion, Larry?
Well, there's a couple guys I've been watching defensively. One, he's got a name you don't forget, Chris Banjo. He's on the short side, but the young fella has made plays. The other guy, he was hurt last week, is Andy Malumba, the free agent outside linebacker from Eastern Michigan, originally from the Republic of the Congo, as in Africa. He's a guy with some tools, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with those fellows when they cut down to the final 53. And offensively speaking, it's hard to knock Tyrone Walker, the wide receiver. He is too small, and Ted Thompson does not like small receivers. He's too small, and he's not that fast, but even till this week, he's been making plays since camp began. But he will, to make the final roster, he'd have to fight that battle that Ted Thompson, hey, his receiver's got to be such and such a height and run such and such a speed. But he has certainly made plays.
We're going to end with a little wordplay. What is the chief objectives, in your opinion, for the Chiefs game?
That's clever, Lance. That's clever. I mean, only from you. Only from you. The chief objective in the Chiefs game: A, stay healthy. I don't care how much the big guys play. I don't care if it's one play or one series, and I don't anticipate it'll be much more. Stay healthy. Do not get hurt. And the other thing, it's the bottom third of the roster. They got 75 to 53 to get to. A lot of those people that are on the so-called bubble, they're going to get a ton of playing time, and that's what this game is all about, evaluating those types of players. But if all the guys the Packers are counting on against San Francisco in the league opener to win it or lose it, if when we get on the plane, all those guys are vertical and not in a boot or anything like that, I'm going to be happy, because those are the guys that determine the outcome of the Packers, not only the league opener, but the rest of the season.
Larry, my chief objective in Kansas City is to keep you away from the barbecue pit. Can I accomplish that?
Well, I'm going out to dinner. I don't know if it's a barbecue place, but they're having the annual public relations dinner, so I'll have to be on my best behavior anyway, and I'll order something, maybe a salad or something, Lance.
Well, thank you for being on your best behavior this evening. You are watching Lance and Larry Tracking the Pack.